All right, what's up, everybody? I see you there, Al Trucker. You just get me today, guys. Lil wasn't feeling well and took the day off, so I will do the damn thing by myself today. Uh, let's see. The fuck? How am I the only one here? It says you're not. It says there's other people watching. We're also streaming on Lil's channel though, so I don't know where you're seeing this at. Let's make that a little bigger, even though the chroma key crack looks like shit. Um, yeah, Lil wasn't feeling well. She said to tell everybody hi and that she would be back soon, and I'm sure she'll be here Sunday. Uh, hey Joe, can't stay. I hope you have a great solo show. Thank you, Seth. Good to see you, man. Have a good day doing your thing. I'm guessing you're working today. Uh, yeah, I've got plenty of stuff to. I've got like 8 or 9 different things for us to look at today. So, I mean, technically, for Lil to have a headache and not be able to make it, like this was probably the best day for that to happen. Um, there is a lot of stuff going on that I think we need to talk about all of it. So that's what we're gonna do. If you're watching over on Lil's channel, I'm sorry that Lil isn't with us. I went ahead and streamed it to where we always stream it to, though, because I figured maybe you were expecting to see it. So, sorry that you got to hang out with me today. But I see, I've already said hi to Al and to Seth, Ambush Apostate. Go check him out. Him and Lil do Candle in the Chaos together. It's a great show. You should definitely go subscribe to Seth's channel. I'll drop a link to it here in just 1 second. But I see Theoretically, Soot, Outrigger, Ambush Prostate, Theoretically, Outrigger. I've seen somebody else. Deviant Outcast. Did I see? Is Deviant here? I thought I seen her. Anyway, um, how's everybody doing today? If somebody else wants to come talk about politics with me, I'll send you a link and you can join. But you don't have to. I can do it myself. I got damn that coffee is stupid strong. Three shots of espresso might have been a bit much for this size. Woo. Um. Anyway, you feel like a sack of shit. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. Uh, someone's missing. Yeah, yeah. What's up, Kelly? Uh, what's up, noise ending? Yeah, Lil couldn't make it today. She wasn't feeling well. She was gonna try to, and it was right up to the end. And she's like, I can't even read what's on the screen. She's got a real bad headache. So she did say to tell everybody hi and that she loves you and she'll be back. So dinner's in the tummy. So doing well. Yeah, that's actually I was running kind of behind because I went and had a box of food from Taco Bell. So that's kind of why I'm running behind today. Um, but thanks for coming, everybody. And like I said, we got plenty to talk about. I'll just go ahead. I hate being the only person on screen, which you would think I'd be used to it by now. 3 years into YouTube or however long I've been doing this. Um, let's let's do this. Let's disappear Lil's thing there. Make this one bigger and put it down here. What do you say we do it? What do you say we do it like that, guys? All right. So let me get back to where I can see your comments. What's up, Kalasia? Good to see you. Where's my sister? There she is. Yeah, no, Lil's not here today. But thank you to everybody that is. So this is a politicality. This is like I'm going to talk. You guys know this. I'm going to talk about some of the stuff that's in political news from my perspective. I guess I guess maybe, and I don't really have any clips to demonstrate this one, but there was some primaries that took place a couple days ago, and in my state specifically, I guess the big news is that Thomas Massey lost. As far as primary goes, a lot of the people that Trump paid a bunch of money to defeat lost. I mean, that's Republicans voting against Republicans, though, so that's not really surprising that happened. But the let's start with this since we only got one thing about this. So Thomas Massey is out. I forget the name of the guy that won, Gallrain or Ballrain or something like that. I forget, but he's a MAGA Trump Republican, and he'll be over the Northern District of Kentucky, which covers everything up to the county right next to mine. He wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't a representative for this district, but they had. I don't remember all the states that had elections, but I think it was Kentucky, Florida. I don't know. There were 6 states though that had primaries yesterday or 2 days ago, and Thomas Massey lost, which the funny thing about it is I've seen a lot of the attack ads against Thomas Massey on YouTube, like as ads, and the only thing that they said no is they said Thomas Massey voted against Donald Trump's immigration plan. He wanted to stop ICE from deporting immigrants, and that's not the reason he was primaried, though. He was primaried. Anybody know why? You want to take one guess, and it's going to be right, of why Thomas Massey was primaried? Because he supported the release of the Epstein files. All right. So, I've only got this one little short clip here of this, but I thought it was worth bringing up. So, they had this big rededication thing at the National Mall for the 250th birthday of the United States. And he wants to get them out. Yep. That's the thing. Like, I could add another show to the week where I only talk about releasing the Epstein files. Like, that would be worthwhile doing. The there's a lot of people are like, well, we just want all the damaging stuff on Trump, and all this. But I mean, the victims deserve justice here, right? Like, these rich, powerful men have been involved with this cabal of sex traffickers and pedophiles that stretches across the globe and involves multiple intelligence agencies. And the fact of the matter is that we have a law that says that they were all to be released. And every day that they're not, our Department of Justice is breaking that law. And nobody's being held accountable now. If Trump doesn't manage to steal the midterms, hopefully they will. They're making it really hard for people to vote. They've taken all representation away from black voters in many places. And they're forcing people to buy passports and stuff to even be able to register to vote, which is equivalent to a poll tax, which is supposed to be illegal. Why is only one person in jail? Sort of. Yeah, sort of. And from everything I've read, she's getting pardoned or getting her sentence commuted or something. I imagine they're just waiting towards the end of Trump's term to do that, or I don't think he's going to live that long, though, so he better get on it, or she ain't getting it. I don't think anybody else would take the political heat to do it. All right. So anyway, they had this rededication thing, and there was a lot of fundamentalists there going on about stuff. There was a lot of crazy shit said, of course, as it is with these Christian nationalists. They were praising Christian nationalism and saying they want to be Christian nationalists and calling themselves that. Uh, so, uh, yeah, man. It's kind of crazy because the thing that Mike Johnson had said is, well, this rededication is, because our country is founded on belief in God and Christianity, and it says, "In God we trust" in the capital, um, which "In God we trust" wasn't added to the capital until like the 1950s or something. That wasn't we didn't always use that. Yeah, it's it's really weird to have this whole big religious thing where they're like making it all about Christianity, and you've got Mike Johnson and the rest of the fundamentalists there saying extreme shit like this guy. Now, this is only a 20-second short, but hell, we may watch it twice because it's that bad. But here, check this shit out. Let me move my picture. It's causing problems there. Can't play the video. All right, here we go.
Hard to believe that it would take 2 centuries for the Lord to raise up a great man to bring that ballroom finally to stand where it needs to stand. It's extraordinary. We only had to wait 200 years.
So think about that. Let's let him say it again just so you hear it.
It's hard to believe that it would take 2 centuries for the Lord to raise up a great man to bring that ballroom finally to stand where it needs to stand. It's extraordinary. We only had to wait 200 years.
So the ballroom is now God's will, apparently. What the fuck? Like, how how does a pastor stand up there and say that it's like this ballroom filled with gold statues, which I would argue is kind of consistent with graven images, which it's not exactly what that means, but yeah, kinda. And I mean, it's still a fair translation. To fill it with statues of all these people, it has no religious symbology at all. Uh, and to say that it's God's will, it's just crazy. They Christians have lost their goddamn minds, and just not all of them. Obviously, it's not all Christians, but I mean, this Christian nationalist right wing fucking Nazi cabal of pedophiles has went fucking crazy and says crazy shit like this. God wants the ballroom. Why? Like, what? How do you even come up with that shit? Um, it's because they see Trump as their deity, and Trump wants the ballroom, so it must be God that wants it, because that's how they go about defining God. They project God onto whatever the ideal of it is, and for them, the most important person in their lives is Trump, so he must be doing God's work. I used to work on the same floor with the agency that represents Metaxas. I worked. Where'd the thing go? I worked with a different company though. I'm sorry if I missed someone on writing the same. What's up? What's up, Average Joe? Good to see you. All right, but yeah. One more time, just because it's so funny.
It's hard to believe that it would take 2 centuries for the Lord to raise up a great man to bring that ballroom finally to stand where it needs to stand. It's extraordinary. We only had to wait 200 years.
Trump's purpose on this earth was ordained by God, and he is to build a ballroom. Okay. We don't have to watch it anymore, but I could. I could just. We could just put that on loop and sit here and talk while it's playing. So I didn't really bring a lot from that because I don't know. I mean, everybody know. Like, I mean, you all probably know a lot of this other stuff too, but just it's. I think that's probably been covered a lot. Is why I just kind of was like, well, you'll see that elsewhere, and I can cover some of this other stuff. So let's see. Van Holen. Let's use. I want to save that one. Well, let's look at this because this isn't related to the others really. So this is a congressional hearing, and I think this is. I don't know if it's oversight or not. And excuse me, I just burped from drinking coffee. So anyway, this is AOC talking to the one of the people from the EPA that is I think they're like the they're not the secretary or not the main head of the EPA. I think it's like the second in command or something here. But anyway, yeah, I'll stop this. This is 5 minutes long, but we're not going to watch all of it, I don't think.
Mr. Administrator Kramer, you are in charge of the Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Water, correct?
Correct.
And in your written testimony, you communicated a value that I think we all appreciate, which is that a top priority for EPA is ensuring continued drinking water safety, right?
Correct.
And this is a bedrock foundational value of the EPA, and it's one of the...
Well, let me tell you something. This may be the foundational bedrock of the EPA, but millions of people live in places where the water isn't drinkable, me included. We get letters constantly throughout the year saying, do not drink the water. We sometimes get letters that tell you not even to bathe in it. And this is millions of Americans deal with this. You'll see here that they're making the problem worse, though, and how. And, but yeah.
Big reasons why it exists. I also appreciate your commitment to clean water specifically. In fact, you said it very well on a MAHA action call just last month that, quote, when I turn the tap on and when every American turns the tap on, there should be confidence in what's in your drinking water. And I think that's a value that we all share. I wanted to ask you, while I have you here, if you've been receiving complaints or if you are aware of folks reaching out about data center construction impact on drinking water quality.
I am aware.
You're aware. And what are some of the things that you're seeing and hearing?
So one of, I think, the biggest concerns is related to water availability, which is why we recently relaunched the Water Reuse Action Plan 2.0 to focus on ensuring that whether it's
Yes.
data centers or
anything about water quality, though?
All right. So, yeah, so this data center stuff has been a big controversial issue for a number of reasons. But one of the things is the resources that it has to use to maintain these places. And it's causing problems with water supply and water quality where they're just throwing these places up and running them wide open. And so they have, we had a big deal coming to Kentucky to build manufacturing plants for vehicles, and something to do with Trump or whatever, that because of the tariffs and things that kind of got screwed up. I mean, Kentucky's lost billions of dollars over the tariffs, which made people stop buying bourbon, and which it was our huge export here. And anyway, these plants were supposed to go in, but because of the tariffs and stuff, it's no longer profitable for them to do so. And so what they tried to do is say, oh, we're going to put in data centers instead. And people in Kentucky have been trying to fight against that, but they recently put one in. You're talking about hemp used for industrial webs and stuff. Hey, I tell you what, if you ever type exclamation mark 420 in my chat on my channel, let me see if it still works. It should give you little factoids about marijuana and hemp. Yeah, there you go. It's 420 somewhere. Cannabis has been used for fiber and medicine for thousands of years. Ancient China documented medicinal uses way back in 2800 BCE. See, ain't that cool? History's been getting stoned before it was cool, is what it says. So, yeah. Anytime you type that in, it'll give you little facts about marijuana. If you're interested in that. If not, whatever. It's just something that's there for you guys. Anyway, yeah, let's go on. That's just what I wanted to point out about the data centers being a problem for a lot of people.
I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Are there any complaints? I mean, are you observing any negative impacts on data center construction on water quality for Americans?
I don't think anything like that's been raised to my attention.
Okay. I would like to do so. A few weeks ago, while Congress was in recess, I visited Morgan County, Georgia, where Meta is building a massive data center campus. They are clear-cutting forests and began heavy construction, including explosive blasting. And families in the area are starting to see not only their water pressure decrease, to your point about water availability, but their appliances have all stopped working because it is decimating their water quality. They now rely on bottled water to drink and prepare meals, and nearby residents' water bills are expected to increase by 33%. In fact,
So she's getting ready to show the water, but this is unfortunately already a reality for a lot of people, including myself. We have to keep bottled water to drink and to cook with and stuff, because if you drink the water here, well, first of all, you can turn on the water in any room in the house, and if you let it run for like 20 seconds, you can smell bleach throughout the whole house, like someone cleaned a room with pure bleach. And if you drink it, it causes nausea and diarrhea. You don't drink the water here. I don't know about other places in Kentucky, but certainly if you come to the Ashland area, do not drink the tap water. They give us notices all the time about all the stuff in it and everything. And, people have this all over the place. Now, she's going to show this water. My water doesn't look as bad as this water. This is crazy that their water looks like this. But, yeah, here you go.
I have a jar right here. This is the current drinking water in Morgan County, Georgia. Right after a data center was constructed, the Meta data center was constructed, the only difference between the clean water and this was that data center. I have another one as well. So this wasn't just one well. These wasn't just one family's situation. This is what the drinking water now looks like next to that data center. And I think both of us can agree that neither one of these things are drinkable. These families now have to ship, in a rural area, have to ship water to their house in order to.
I thought she said they had to shit. I was like, what? Hey, Aiden, good to see you. Glad you're here.
Cook and bathe themselves. Now, I'm curious if the EPA plans any investigations on how data centers are affecting water quality and availability. I understand what you said about the rule, but are there going to be any open investigations on this issue?
So as soon as I get back to the office, I will be looking into exactly what you've just talked about, because anywhere, whatever type of construction it is a priority to ensure that water quality standards established by EPA are being met. And so we'll be looking into that certainly.
Thank you. I sincerely appreciate that because I think.
except the Trump administration is trying to do away with all those regulations. So, yeah, that was terrible. I don't know why she acts like they're going to do some major thing about it because, again, this is something that happens everywhere. It's been that way here for years. They don't give a shit about the water. What do we want to look at next? Let's look at this hearing in Congress here. So I think this is the well. Let's just play it. This is I sat with my mouth open watching this. It's just so crazy that you'll see.
From Florida is recognized. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to go back really quick to the questioning by Ms. Crockett, just because I thought it was actually an easy.
We'll watch Jasmine Crockett, what she said, in just a second, so you can see what he's talking about. But yeah,
line of questioning, and I want to give everyone an opportunity just to clarify. Ms. Swan, the neo-Nazis are a supremacist group, right? I know you talked about your book, but neo-Nazis are a supremacist group.
May I define a white supremacist? Because
the answer was yes.
I did a Cambridge University Press book,
Okay.
and when I did my research,
I know, but Ms. Swan, I got to be honest, you're doing what the university professors did with Elise Stefanik.
No, I'm
talking about, well, what's the definition of this and what's
no,
it?
I'm giving you a definition
but
because you all don't have one.
No, the neo-Nazis are a supremacist group. They believe they're supreme, right? That's why they wanted to put people in camps that they believed were not pure. Neo-Nazis are a supremacist group, right? I mean, this is not a trick question, Ms. Swan. I'm not trying to trip you up in the fact that you're.
I would like to define a white supremacist, and when I did my research, it was white people who believed that because of their race, they were superior to other groups. But the left redefined white supremacists so that it could include any white person in this room,
Ms. Swan,
including
hold
you
on.
all.
That's a wonderful speech and a filibuster.
No, it's true.
Are neo-Nazis supremacists?
It depends on which ones. They're individuals.
No, I didn't ask you which ones.
Some of them are plain old
neo-Nazi. Ms. Swan, listen, I'm not reading your book if you literally can't answer this question. Are neo-Nazis supremacists?
They're individuals. Some are, and some may be just plain old anti-Semites.
I really don't understand this. I know that. So what's going on here is these are people that Trump is putting through for I think judicial positions. I don't know particular if that's why she's there, but I know that's what these hearings were. And the fact that you can't say that neo-Nazis are white supremacists or supremacists at all, like, is insane. We all know, like, neo-Nazi skinheads, they're white supremacists. That's what they are. Like, that's everybody knows this. It's common knowledge. And for her to sit and play semantics with it, and to be a black woman and sit and take up for neo-Nazis because you got to kiss Trump's ass is just insane. And unbelievable to me that she sits here and does this. Yeah. How can a black woman sit there and say that shit? How much money is she being paid to sell out herself? Yeah. There's more of this. There's a lot more of this. Not all of it's white supremacy, but there's more of this where they just refuse to, like, just easy common things that people know that they sit and won't say, you know, they won't speak out against white supremacist groups because they're Trump supporters. And we're getting into what many of those white supremacist groups are getting here in a minute when it comes to the slush fund thing. We're definitely going to talk about that. But this is just crazy.
No, neo-Nazis are anti-Semites, okay? We're going to agree there.
Right, okay.
But they're also supremacists, Ms. Swan.
Okay, if you agree.
No. You don't have to take my word for it. right? Like they are. That's the whole reason they exist.
But you all don't
because they believe
seem to-
they are supreme.
You all don't seem to understand that a white
Who's they all?
supremacist
I'm not a
until you
neo-Nazi.
redefine-
Who's they all? I'm a regular person asking another regular person if we can agree that neo-Nazis are supremacists.
I will agree with you.
Okay, I don't want you to be forced into it.
I would agree with you, but I suggest you all take the time and read my Cambridge University Press book
Listen,
that was nominated for a
Ms. Swan,
Pulitzer Prize.
Dr. Swan, I can promise you there's no freaking way I'm buying your book.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, you can't even say that neo-Nazis are white supremacists, and you want people to buy your book. There's I gave them this message as well, Lil, but there's Lil. Hey guys, just popping in, massive migraine, love you guys. I passed that along, but thank you for stopping by, Lil. I hope you feel better. I'm managing to pull this off all by myself today. So you get to feeling better, and we'll kill it on Sunday. All right. And Sue is sending you hugs. But yeah, all she wants to do is, my book was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize, and read my book. She's already said it 2 or 3 times, and she continues to say, my book, my book. And it's like, bitch, who gives a fuck about your book if you can't even agree that neo-Nazis are white supremacists? Why would we read your book? Like,
when it took 2 minutes for you to look at me and had to convince you that neo-Nazi, listen.
Because I don't like the talking points. The leftist.
This is not a talking point. This is 100.
No, talking points. It's a talking point that neo-Nazis are white supremacists. What the fuck?
Years of history. Watch this. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Mr. Perkins, are neo-Nazis supremacists?
They are supremacists.
Thank you, sir. Mr. O'Neill?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Swan, that wasn't a trick question for them.
That was the right answer there on the end. Yes. Yes was the answer.
I wasn't trying to trip them up. I wasn't using DNC talking points. This is part of the problem. And I didn't even want to do this, quite frankly, because I'm not interested in making this stuff political, right? I got Democratic candidates in Texas coming out yesterday and saying that Jews belong in concentration camps again. Okay,
it's terrible.
Like we're in real bad times.
I agree.
And so if we put these hateful conversations in our political box and we do the whataboutism, this is just going to continue to spread hate.
I agree with 100%. We agree.
Right. And that's why we got to be able to at least agree to a simple set of facts that neo-Nazis are supremacists. Right? Okay. We've moved on. We've moved on. You're there.
But you all use white supremacists as a broad statement.
I didn't. Listen. I didn't say anything other than they're supremacists.
Okay.
And they are.
I apologize to you, sir.
Okay. Now you don't have to apologize to me. I just want you to understand, like, if we can't agree on a simple set of facts, then we can't solve real problems. So, Mr. Chairman, this obviously was a specific topic that you had scheduled a couple weeks ago and invited these witnesses in. But I got to be honest, like the last week, the amount of anti-Semitic messages, voicemails, text messages I have gotten, stuff on my social media, an assassination plot, a couple months ago, someone serving 25 years in jail, and now watching someone running for office trying to join the greatest deliberative body ever created on this planet, who thinks the way forward for America is to look at 1940s Germany. Okay, my grandmother was part of the Kindertransport out of Germany. Her parents died in Auschwitz. My kids are not going to an internment camp, I can assure you. And it's becoming so normalized. It is, we've gone from, there's Americans who donate to elected officials, that are AIPAC, and then it's,
I think Moskowitz lets her off a little easy here, but so these people that all are getting these appointments because of Trump, are told what to say. They're coached on everything. They're told not to ever agree to anything that the Democrats say. So, and the Democrats know this too. So it sets up this situation to where you can't even get them to agree that white supremacist groups are white supremacists. Like, everybody knows the neo-Nazis are white supremacists. I mean, neo-Nazis are right up there with the KKK. They are white supremacists. That's what they do. It is it's wild though that these people have been coached to just disagree with anything, to where she's sitting and trying to make a shot at Democrats about it, like, well, you guys have made it this broad term. Words have meanings. You don't get to just redefine words and make up things as you go. Words have meanings. So yeah.
Okay, Netanyahu, and then it's, okay, maybe we shouldn't support foreign money, and then, okay, now we're going to call these people Zionists, and now we're at concentration camps. By the way, we got the concentration camps much faster than I thought we would get, but here we are. And it's real scary. People are scared. People don't want to show their Jewish stars anymore. They're moving into neighborhoods just to be around other Jews because they're concerned. And
I mean, I would argue that the Republican Party is white supremacist. They gutted the Voter Rights Act, and the first thing that Republicans did is go and make maps to exclude black people. Like, I would argue that that's white supremacist in its nature. So I don't know. Like, even if her argument is that Democrats made white supremacists this broad term, that would still make neo-Nazis fall within it. But she won't admit that neo-Nazis are white supremacists because it would be agreeing with something that the Democrats said. And they've been coached and brainwashed to the point that they think anything they say is some Democratic talking point when it's just basic facts. Her 2002 book on white nationalism, yeah, she is. She's brought it up 4 times. That's not what she's there to talk about, Amber, to be clear. Moskowitz has asked her 5 times if neo-Nazis are white supremacists, and she said everything but yes. So, yeah, that's where we're at. All right. Let me send a link to somebody real quick here. Said they wanted to join. And sorry, guys. Damn, come on. All right. But yeah, she's every opportunity she's had, she keeps bringing up her book. Here we go. All right. You all get somebody to look at other than me. Well, or somebody to hear from. You may not get to look at them. But yeah, this is crazy. So at the beginning of this, he refers to something that Jasmine Crockett said. And I want to show that because what Jasmine Crockett said was just wonderfully done. Let's let me find that clip. I've got a lot of clips today. So here's Jasmine Crockett.
Proud Boys a white supremacist organization, yes or no?
It depends on how you define it.
I'm not on their mailing list. I don't know.
No, they're not white supremacists.
And you know what? I do believe that y'all believe that. Let's try another one. Neo-Nazis. Nazis is in their name. Are they white supremacists?
Neo-Nazis, are they white supremacists?
Yes or no?
What's that?
Yes or no?
They're certainly anti-Semitic, which I would join with any member of the Democratic Party. Mr. Nadler earlier was talking about standing up for the Jewish
reclaim
people.
it.
Yeah, see, like, they won't admit that, none of them will admit that neo-Nazis are white supremacists. Instead, they try to turn it around and call Democrats anti-Semitic for being against genocide and starting a war with Iran and all that. You're anti-Semitic if you don't bow down to everything Netanyahu wants to do. There's what's up, Mike? Good to see you. Hi, Tori. Hi, Jester. Thanks for coming. I disagree that Republicans are white supremacists. Painting with a broad brush and isn't fair. What do you call people who support laws that take representation away from black people? When Republicans support gutting the Voter Rights Act and then they support redistricting black people out of elections, what do you call that? I'm interested to hear what your explanation is for that. How you say that I'm not being fair there. I don't think I'm the one that's not being fair in that case. Explain to me how it's fair to go into every predominantly black district in states and slice it up to where black people have no representation, all because they were anti-Trump in the election, right? Like they are purposely targeting black people. This is not something that's arguable, even. Like they did it. It's right out in the open, and they do it while carrying around Trump flags, and the Republican Party supports them doing this. How is that not a white supremacist move? Please enlighten me. All right, I'm going to let this play out. It's 2 minutes long. Jasmine Crockett kills it here as usual. So you guys can listen to this and cheer her on.
In my time next.
Yes, they're white supremacists.
Woo, thank God. Jesus Christ, I didn't think we were going to get there. Oh my gosh, let me be clear. Proud Boys are freaking white supremacists. Neo-Nazis are too. And this president, who loves to coddle white supremacists, has decided that they should be given checks. It is clear that neo-Nazis as well as Proud Boys joined in on January 6th. Yet this slush fund that they keep talking about is specifically to give them money.
What do you mean noise ending? This level of hair splitting. What hairs are being split here? I don't know what you mean. I'm not arguing with me. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying I don't know what you mean by that.
You're telling me that $2 billion in the same country that I'm sure some of y'all would struggle with whether or not the enslavement of black people was good or bad. I'm not even gonna go there and ask y'all the question because y'all struggle with defining that these people were white supremacists. But this country still hasn't thought that reparations made sense for black folk in this country. But at the same time, they've decided that people that are in organizations that are absolutely white supremacy organizations should get our tax dollars because they decided to tear apart or
all right, sorry guys, I have to pause this for this. All right, the redistricting situation was ruled on by the Supreme Court. Yes, the redistricting wasn't ruled on by the Supreme Court. The Voter Rights Act was ruled on by the Supreme Court that said that they could go in and redistrict these places. There were protections put in to keep them from going into black communities and cutting them up, gerrymandering them to where they didn't have representation. And they said that they could do it as long as they didn't say they knew that they were predominantly black or they knew that they were targeting black people. It's not a coincidence that they then went only to black districts and did this. They went to every predominantly black district in these states and split them up into other districts so that the black vote doesn't count for anything anymore. They gerrymandered them out of representation. Tell me again how it is that whenever it's only black communities that they did this to, that it was unconditional. The Republicans support that they've done this. The Republicans are behind it. They agree with it. They not only have no problem with that they targeted only black communities, they support that they did it. So tell me how I'm wrong there, because you didn't there for sure.
attempt to tear apart our democracy. They are being rewarded. Some of y'all need to read up on your history books, the very same ones that the Republicans have decided that people should not hear about, because you don't want real history taught in our schools, because you're afraid that it's going to hurt people's feelings to know that their ancestors were so savage that they would enslave black folk. You don't want them to understand why the 14th Amendment mattered then and it matters today. You don't want them to understand that when they draw these racist lines and tell black folk that they shouldn't have representation in this country, that it is against the Constitution. You want them to be ignorant so that they can sit up here and be your token for your mission.
Expired.
Damn right. Damn right. I would argue about it. I'm at work and I don't have time to go over the details via messenger. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I don't know that I would be the right person to have an argument with you about taking rights away from black people. I know some folks in this community that would have that conversation with you, though. And I would welcome having that conversation with someone else. I think you're able to behave yourself, Joe. And I think that maybe you're just, I mean, you're wrong, first of all. I mean, here's the problem with what your position is, Joseph, or Joe. Are neo-Nazis white supremacists? The fact that we are sitting here and see people who are being appointed to the judicial that can't answer that or won't answer that question and admit that they are, tells you everything you want to know. The Republicans are sitting here and they see them doing this, and they are going to confirm these people to the judicial branch. So how in the world can you tell me that they're not white supremacists when they're sitting here purposely refusing to admit that even neo-Nazis are white supremacists? Other than you're wrong, they are. What is even happening? So glad Charles Booker won our Kentucky Senate primary. Did any of your candidates win on the local level? No. No. Where I'm at is it's bad. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how, when your party supports white supremacists, the Proud Boys and neo-Nazis, which they're supporting by refusing to even label them as white supremacists, when we all know that they are. The Proud Boys is a white supremacist group. We've always known that. I don't know how you sit and defend that. And then what they're doing to these black districts in combination like that, I don't know how you make an argument that this is not incredibly racist. What's up, Al Trucker?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good. What's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, the usual. Just working. I'm hauling down the road, and I thought I was going to be done. They were going to send me home early, but now all of a sudden, I might get a call, and I might get sent somewhere else. So
yeah, well,
okay, I could drive in multiple directions at once.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
Do you see a problem with candidates who are being confirmed to the judicial branch, to the federal court system, who can't admit that neo-Nazis are white supremacists? Do you see a problem with that?
Yeah, no, I've been listening almost the whole time. I got a couple of work calls in there, so I might have gotten lagged a bit, but I heard people saying to a couple of different people, and I don't think I understood the context. These are people to be appointed to a judicial position, like a judge at some fairly high level, right?
So
so like, this is not just like the judge at town about your parking ticket. This is like a judge making real decisions. I do have a problem with that. Even though it's not my country, I would have a problem with that in my country. And I realized that you could define a word and get so pedantic about it, or semantics, or whatever people want to talk about, and say, well, it doesn't really specifically say that. But the first word that came to my mind when I heard the first lady being asked, and I was a little shocked to find out. I'm not watching; I'm only listening. I was shocked to find out she was a black woman who held this position. Because in my mind, there's people that are white supremacists slash racist, and racist. You can be racist against any race, even
Yeah.
your own, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, so racism will leave as a separate topic. It's very much related. But when you talk about white supremacism, or if I mean, sometimes it helps to like frame it as like, what does it mean when it's a different race? If you said like Asian supremacism, for instance, to say
Yeah.
people, and Asia is a continent, not a race, but what people mean is Eastern Asia. And when they say that, sometimes they mean South Asian. It's hard to say, but if you say, okay, is this type of person a neo-Nazi? Well, maybe not. Maybe they would have joined if they'd had the choice. But a lot of times people only see the word Nazi specifically. I don't know if we're allowed to even say that word, but let's assume we
Yeah.
are.
You are.
Okay, so because I know it's on the video, and it's a neo-Nazi to me. It just means a new Nazi, meaning like they're not actually members of the Soviet Workers' Party of Germany of the 1930s and 40s or whatever. I
Yeah.
can't remember what the real name of it is, and it's a German name anyway. But that, like, just because you're not literally under Hitler and under that party and that regime, and living in Germany, doesn't mean that you're not sort of following along with those views. Now, my understanding is Hitler didn't just hate Jews; he hated them, and he blamed them, and he was, in a lot of ways, just needed some kind of a scapegoat for whatever was going on, and
Exactly.
the playbook's very similar, and that's what's most galling about this. And so I would say the umbrella is: are they all white supremacists? Sure, maybe they are. At least, like, I would bet you probably would have found that they were German supremacists too. And they only meant certain Germans, right? They even went so far as to talk about things that I think would be categorized as eugenics, and like there was a favored version of white people too, the blue eyed blonde haired folks, right? Like they took it to that level. And so white supremacism is an umbrella. Neo-Nazis fall under that umbrella. And yeah, neo-Nazis are a very specific type of racist organization. And I don't know how organized they are. I don't know. Like, no one's ever offered me a card, and I've never Googled to find out how the hell I would join. Because I don't want anything to do with that shit.
Here.
What's that?
They hand out flyers here.
Oh, do they hand out flyers? Okay. Now, I've seen people post shit online. I've seen people have you'll see graffiti around every once in a while. When I was a young kid, there was a group of, they called themselves skinheads, that were apparently working in our neighborhood. And I grew up in an area very close to a very anti-Semitic cluster of homes, a neighborhood, if you will, where the anti-Semitism ran long and deep in a certain area, and it even led to a major, or like what people would probably call a race riot, many years before I was born, like decades before I was born. And the history of that and the knowledge of that carried through to my childhood, into my high school life, and I still would presume anti-Semitism out of a good number of the people that were raised that way in those places, but diverse.
Oh, I think we lost Al. But Al is exactly right. And I want to point out something that Amber said here in chat that I think brings up an important point. Amber gave the German name of the Nazi Party, and then said, "Excuse me, the National Socialist German Workers' Party." I forgot the second nationalism in there. And this ultra nationalism thing is part of fascism, right? The whenever, and what Al's talking about, we do call these people Nazis, but he's right. We don't mean the Nazis of the 1930s and 40s. They're actually fascists who follow in the footsteps of what the Nazi Party did. And this is a thing that for some people, right-wing people, like to try and throw up and like, oh, well, the Nazis were defeated back then. And it's like, yeah, but there's neo-Nazis now, and there's people that behave like Nazis, and calling fascists Nazis is not like unreasonable. So yeah, did we get you back yet, Al? But yeah, and what Ember brought up there is important because it's this ultra nationalism thing that's driving everything. Whenever so the point here, whenever I say that the Republicans are racists, their actions are racist. Their goal is just to retain power. They don't care who they have to discriminate against, who they have to scapegoat. They have no ethics when it comes to winning. So they're willing to do whatever, and in doing that, they're willing to sit at the table with the Proud Boys and neo Nazis and other white supremacists and carry out racist policies within their states to do it, even though their ultimate goal isn't white supremacy. It's not, well, it is for some of those groups, but the Republican Party itself, their goal is just to retain power, to stay in power, and continue to make racist laws and things that benefit only them. So while their goal is about power and stuff, the fact that they're at the table with these people and they're willing to carry out these racist policies, that's what makes them racist. And they are definitely white supremacists. I mean, Trump, the Republican Party's whole thing is deport all the brown people, take the vote away from the black people. That's all they have done. That is the only thing that they've really accomplished is to discriminate against people. And let's not forget their attacks on trans people and stuff like that as well. Oh, there we go. We got you, Al. What's up, man?
Hey, I'm back again. Sorry,
Yeah.
I do not know how to deal with the tech, and when I'm driving, there's not much I can do except press a button. So I'm sorry.
You're good, man. You're fine.
So, and I know I'm missing on maybe some of the conversation, but I don't think we're disagreeing. I think it's a major problem.
We're in.
This is a major problem what's being talked about here, and the idea that your country is going to go in this direction is just crazy to me.
It is. It's wild, isn't it? That it's like this. Whenever we were coming up on the election, the presidential election, everybody was talking about Project 2025 and all the horrible things it did that were racist and discriminatory against the LGBTQ community, and that's what they're doing. They're actually doing those things, and this is what it looks like.
Exactly. So, they're doing.
Yeah.
They're implementing. They're doing exactly what they said they're going to do.
Yeah.
And except I think it looks even worse than people imagined.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a horror show. It's whenever you see in writing they're going to do things to take votes away from black people, you see that like that's bad enough, but when you see what they're willing to do and how they're willing to sit here and deny that neo-Nazis are white supremacists in order to achieve those things, it is a horror show. And I literally sat with my mouth open when I watched this clip earlier because I was like, oh my god, they're just going to sit and deny white supremacists. Like Average Joe here, he is trying to make the counterpoint here. Let's see what he said. TKA, that's part of the problem. I'm saying you, but I have heard people say neo-Nazis are racist. They are white. You are white, and therefore you are racist. That may not be exactly how it goes, but makes the point. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, you're trying to say that you're trying to make the same argument that these judge nominees are trying to make, where you're saying that it's been redefined that white people are racists, and so they're all white supremacists. Nobody has changed the definition of white supremacists. I'm not a white supremacist because I'm white. I'm very much for everybody having equal rights under the law, not discriminated against people, and for humanism. So, no, but I know you didn't say me, but let me read it again. That's part of the problem. I'm saying you, but I have heard people say neo-Nazis are racist. They are white. you are white, therefore you are racist. That may not be exactly how it goes. Yeah, that's trying to muddy up the definition so that you can make it mean nothing. Neo-Nazis are white supremacists. These people are denying neo-Nazis. The Republican Party is going to confirm them for doing so, and they're going to continue to take voting rights away from black people. That is racism. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If you support the Republican Party doing this, I'm sorry, but that makes you racist. If you're okay with taking votes away from black people, it doesn't make you taking action within racism, but you support racism. There's no other way to get there. Am I being too harsh here, Al?
No, I think and this is I also was thinking I would have brought up earlier if I hadn't gotten cut off. There's a class issue here too, and
Oh, of
a
course,
lot
yeah.
of but the funny thing about the class issue is that it's often, not always, and I don't want to be overly general, and I realize part of this conversation is about how words are used now, in the past, and in the future. But I remember seeing people that were very proud to be white supremacists, and would he come out and say it out loud, and yeah, it's a thing that happens, and it sucks, and it's wrong. But yeah, these people are definitely saying that, and I'm gonna have to mute myself because I got to talk to somebody.
Okay, no problem. All right. Let's watch this clip, and then we're going to get into the slush fund thing. I don't understand how their votes are being taken away. They can still vote. Their representation's being taken away. If you take a district, the only predominantly black district in your state, who has a representative, and you split that district up 3, 4, 5 ways, so that now there's no you've taken the representative away from that district. And their votes, you've split up a black district, the only predominantly black district, so that their district can no longer win representation within the government. So it's not taking away their right to vote, it's taking away any weight that their vote has. They're making their vote, they're watering down the black vote, and they're targeting only predominantly black communities to do this. All right, so let's watch a little bit of this, and we're going to talk about the slush fund thing here. They talk about it some here, but we're going to get into it in just a second, because this is another incredibly racist action by the Republican Party. And again, you won't be able to deny that what they're doing is supporting white supremacist groups. But let's watch this first. Why do they need to be represented as black? That sounds racist. They were never represented as black. So a little bit of history here, Average Joe. All right. So do you know what these red line districts are in cities? So what they've done is, after World War II, a lot of black folks came back from fighting in the war for this country. And they made it to where I know that you know this. There's all the movies where the black people live on the other side of the tracks, and there's these predominantly black communities, and it's because of the way they set up the housing issue and did loans to them. So you have these communities that are black, and you have lots and lots of black folks living in these communities. And they purposely built shitty schools or no schools, or bust them to other schools. This is how racism is integrated into our laws. It's how it is a systemic problem. So, and all of this is historically correct stuff. There's no, it's just what it is. So anyway, the government has forced black people into these communities. It's not that they just made districts because they were black people. These districts arose as a result of them making these whole communities predominantly black. So if you have these huge communities, these huge metro areas where lots and lots of black people live, it's a district because of the number of people that live there. Like the fact that it's predominantly black is a consequence of the laws and the lending, predatory lending, and the things that were done to put black people in these communities. It was a form of segregation that they didn't call segregation. Now, Democrats are guilty of this too, by the way. I'm not saying that's all Republicans. But now that you have these communities that are predominantly black, whenever you purposely go in and they have a representative and you take it away, that's racist. It's not that they need to have their own representative just because they're black. It's that they have a representative because it's a huge community and you're purposely carving that up and taking it away. You don't get to say, like, why do they need it as an excuse for targeting predominantly black communities. Anytime that you go and you're going to change voter maps, you're going to gerrymander the maps, and your primary way of doing that is to target people based on race. Anytime you do that, it's clearly racism. Like, I mean, I don't know how you argue otherwise. I really don't. I encourage you to look up how black people were put in these communities and how that happened, because I think there's some historically useful information there that explains the systemic racism that's embedded in all of our laws to this day. So, yeah. All right, let's check out this clip.
You keep using the term significantly degraded. Last summer, we were told that Iran's nuclear weapons program was obliterated. Can you clarify the distinction between obliterated and significantly degraded?
All right, so real quick, this is about the war in Iran, obviously, and the terms that have been used and how, given what they said, we're even there in a war. I want to point out real quick the thing we just watched with the nominees for federal judicial positions. The what they just did, where they refused to admit neo-Nazis or white supremacists, where they just refused to agree to the meaning of words and the basic facts to have a conversation. I want you to keep in mind the tactics that they use to do that as we watch this, because you're going to see it again here.
Congressman, again, I think appropriate to talk about anything regarding the Iranian nuclear program.
No, I'm not asking you to talk about the Iran nuclear program. I'm asking you to talk about English language. What's the difference between obliterated and significantly degraded? Are they the same?
Congressman, anything regarding the nuclear program.
I'm not asking you to talk about the nuclear program, Admiral. I'm asking you to answer a question that applies to a lot of things beyond the nuclear program. You've also said that their ballistic missile program was significantly degraded. What does that mean?
The specific numbers are best, as you know from your own.
Well, President Trump's own national security strategy, which he signed in December.
Yeah, he's asking him just to define the words that he's using. You're saying it's significantly degraded. The president has said it was obliterated. What does it mean when you say significantly degraded? You don't have to give the numbers. You don't have to talk about the Iran nuclear program. All we want to know is, what do you mean by significantly degraded? Is it completely destroyed and can't ever be built back? Or what's the deal? This guy isn't going to answer that question, because if he does and says, well, significantly degraded means that we destroyed almost everything, then when they go back and start bombing again, they have to explain, well, if everything was destroyed, why are you bombing again? And if it wasn't destroyed, why are you telling the American people that it was? So he's going to bring this up in this, but there was a General Westmoreland, and he did a lot of talking head stuff during Vietnam. And what Westmoreland did is he would come and talk about the body counts that the American soldiers had, that, oh, we've killed this many people and we're winning this war and we're doing all these great things, when in fact we were losing the war in Vietnam, as we're losing the war in Iran currently. And to come and say, oh, well, we destroyed this and we did this and it's significantly degraded. He's using these vague terms for the purposes of misleading the American people, because we're not winning this war. The Strait of Hormuz was open and now it's closed. That wasn't that way before. There has been no benefit to this war. We have lost ground in this war. Our bases have been either destroyed or bombed to where they're so crippled beyond repair. Like 18 different bases were hit 238 times. That's, I mean, they don't say that though. They say we've significantly degraded this, we've obliterated that, and getting them to define the terms that they're using so that you can have the conversation is impossible, because they won't even define what they're saying, because it will cause them problems later down the road. Big John Lovell, Joe is doing a good show today. Thank you, Big John. That's nice of you. I appreciate that. All right, I'll let this guy talk some more, and we'll get on with it.
5 months ago, used the exact same phrase, significantly degraded. So if this was true back then, 5 months ago, then why did we start this war? Was he lying to us then?
Congressman, from a military perspective, anything regarding
Admiral, are you familiar with General Westmoreland?
I'm very familiar, Congressman.
He's well known for talking about body counts. Now, when I think about you in this war, I always think about how you always got up there and would say everything's going according to plan. So let me just ask, Admiral.
All right. So this is just expert questioning. Like he's the witness questioning here. He's knocking it out of the park here. This is just great. This is how you question someone. Get them to break down what they mean when they say certain words, and then to explain the history, the facts of what was said. And he's not going to be able to do that. He got up and said everything was going according to plan. So the key term there is plan. What was the plan? Tell me about the plan. Was this part of the plan? Was that part of the plan? Like this is just a masterclass in questioning a witness.
Where was closing the strait in the plan?
I'm happy to discuss the specific operational aspects.
So did you just not anticipate that? Did you not think that Iran could do that? Or was that part of the plan here?
Congressman,
for 250 years, the Navy has kept sea lanes open and free. Under every previous president, the Strait of Hormuz has been open. So why is it closed under your watch?
Congressman, I've traveled through the Strait of Hormuz probably 100 times. I'm intimately familiar with it as a combatant commander.
So why is it closed? If you're so familiar with it, did you not anticipate that Iran might
answer the question? If I may answer with respect, with all due respect. My responsibility as a combatant commander is to lay out all the options, present those to the Secretary and the President. They make policy-level decisions.
So you presented
the operational aspect.
So, Admiral, you presented...
Pass the buck.
You presented the reality that Iran might close the strait to the President and the Secretary of Defense.
Anything that I discuss with respect to...
okay, well, let's go back to the plan. Where was begging China for help opening the strait part of the plan?
So from a military perspective?
There are multiple reports now public that Iran has already reconstituted many of its bombed-out missile sites. Was that part of the plan, too?
Those reports are inaccurate.
Okay. I will actually give you credit for regime change. I know that was part of the plan. You've replaced an 86-year-old in failing health with a fatwa against producing nuclear weapons, with a more hardline guy in his 50s who, in case he wasn't hardline enough, you killed his immediate family. Was that part of the plan? Is that the regime change you wanted?
Congressman, we were given very specific military objectives to degrade Iran's power projection capability. That's exactly what we did.
Okay.
Yeah. Minor detail, but the U.S. Navy was created in 1794, not 250 years. Yeah, important. I mean, I respect that. That's a good thing to add in there. So this guy has told everybody that everything is going according to plan. But what are the facts here? The facts are is that we had regime change, and it was negative. It was not. It didn't make things better. It made it worse. The Strait of Hormuz has always been open, and now it's closed. That's not helpful. Americans are paying tons more for gas and groceries and everything. That's as a direct result of this war and the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So if everything's going according to plan, then why was the plan? Why was this the plan? But he won't even admit. He said everything's part of the plan, but now he won't admit that the individual parts of this are part of the plan, because the whole idea is to be vague and to just act like everything's okay in this vague sense, but never actually admit any accountability for anything.
Okay, so in the course of doing that, you also lifted the oil sanctions on Iran, giving them about $14 to $16 billion. They can buy a lot of ballistic missiles for that. Was that part of the plan? Lifting oil sanctions on them in the course of the conflict? They kill 14 Americans, we lift oil sanctions on them?
As you know, sir, the U.S. military does not lift sanctions. That's a policy decision.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out where it was part of the plan. On March 5th, you talked about...
Within those military decisions, you would know that lifting the sanctions is going to give Iran $16 billion that they can use to fight this war with. Like, you would know that your actions are doing that, even though he's not the one changing policy. He's aware of the implications of changing that policy, but he refuses to answer.
About how you built the most integrated air missile defense or air defense system in the Middle East, and yet well into the war you had to ask Ukraine for help with defenses against drones.
That's not accurate.
Okay. What about oil prices, gas?
They did.
Prices. Was oil prices going up 56% part of the plan?
Congressman, as you know, from a military perspective, we don't deal in oil and gas prices. I defer to the appropriate authorities within the government.
Okay, so
you're the guy with the plan, though, right? If you're the guy with the plan, you have weighed out the consequences of your plan. And if you're saying everything is going according to plan, you're admitting that this was part of the plan. So I don't know, and I agree with you, Amber. Why do they even show up if they're just going to lie? Like, this is batshit stuff, right? Like, this is crazy that these people show up and they refuse to even admit that people are white supremacists, or that Iran is winning this war, or that Americans don't support it. They sit and say the American people support this. They do not. Overwhelmingly, they do not. They just sit and lie. They lie, or they play semantics games. He refuses to answer because he is the wrong person to ask. He said everything is going according to plan. Did he? So are you saying that he didn't know the consequences of his plan? He made the plan. He made the plan in the real world where these things are happening, and knew that certain aspects of his plan would have consequences. Yes, you're right. He's not the one that ordered it and said, okay, carry out this plan. But he made the plan. He said everything's going according to plan. He didn't change the gas prices, but he knew it was a consequence of closing the Strait of Hormuz. That is a national security issue when 20% of the world's oil is unavailable all of a sudden. Like, I think that's a cop-out, Average Joe. He didn't make the decisions. He made the plan. He made the plan, and when somebody said, yes, this is a good plan, and then he says everything's going according to plan, that it isn't saying, are you the one that okayed this? And that's not what he's asking. He's saying, were these things part of the plan? Because they're obviously consequences that came to fruition. So was it part of your plan, or wasn't it? If it wasn't part of your plan, then you're not doing a very good job. You're incompetent. If it was part of the plan, why? All right.
Since none of this seems to be part of the plan, what's the plan now? What's the plan now to actually win this war? Because it feels like we're losing. We don't have a nuclear deal. We don't have the Strait open. The president has called for unconditional surrender. Is that part of the plan?
Congressman, we achieved all our military objectives. We're presently in a ceasefire. We're executing a blockade, and we're prepared for a broad range of contingencies.
Well, it doesn't seem to be going well, and I would.
Yeah, so this is that shit I'm talking about. This is the same thing that General Westmoreland did, right? General Westmoreland comes, well, we've achieved all of our military objectives. We've got a blockade. We've got contingency plans. We've got all this stuff going on as if everything is fine, and it isn't. Because he won't even admit to the basic facts. This is the same exact thing that the other people, everyone we've watched has done. Why is it when anyone shows up that is either part of the Trump administration or a nominee to be part of the Trump administration, why is it that they won't agree to the basic facts? I mean, it's just a basic fact that Iran got all this money and that they're using it to fight this war. It's a basic fact that the Strait of Hormuz has always been open and now it's closed. That American soldiers have died. That we've bombed schools. All of these are basic facts. They won't even admit to those, though, because they want to paint this picture that everything's great and everyone supports it. And it's just not true. It's just not the case. Call it what you want. I mean, you can say it's a false conclusion. I mean, you're just saying nuh-uh, pretty much. But, you know, I mean, I welcome anyone to come and explain to me where I'm wrong about this. I welcome it.
I'd like to know how many more Americans we have to ask to die for this mistake. Do you know?
I think it's an entirely inappropriate statement from you, sir. With
Gentleman's time
it's
is
with
expired.
all
You're
due
not
respect.
recognized
With all due
It's not a
respect.
statement, it's a question.
You're not
Admiral Cooper.
Yeah. How is that an inappropriate question to ask? American soldiers are dying. Americans are paying more for everything because of this war. We have bombed schools. The Strait of Hormuz is closed, affecting 20% of the world's oil supply and our national security. How many more Americans have to die here before we're done? I think it's a perfectly fine question to ask.
Cooper, you keep using the term significantly degraded. Last summer, we were told that Iran's nuclear weapons program was obliterated. Can you clarify the distinction between obliterated and significantly degraded?
Congressman, again, I think appropriate to talk about anything regarding the Iranian nuclear program.
No, I'm not asking you.
I don't know why that started over, but I must have done something wrong whenever I clipped it and was editing it. But yeah, that's just starting over from the beginning. I think that, I don't know, I think my point stands here, Joe, and anybody else that has a problem with what I'm saying. You're welcome to come tell me why it is that I'm wrong, but I think that my point stands. I think you're going to have a hard time arguing that. So let's get into this slush the fun thing, okay? Now, we're going to start with a clip from Rachel Maddow that ends with Jamie Raskin talking about the facts of this slush fund. And Joe, I'm sure you're going to disagree with this as well. Tell me why in the chat so I can understand where you think this is okay. Let me give a little background here first. So Trump sued his own administration for $10 billion because a IRS contractor released his tax files years ago during his administration. And so he sued them for $10 billion, and he essentially gets to settle it himself because he's the head of the executive branch and he's suing himself, which is the craziest thing that as far as like economics and fiscal responsibility and things, this is the craziest thing that our government has ever let happen, and demonstrates how our country is fundamentally broke that he can even do this. Anyway, he ends up dismissing. So there's going to be a lot of people making this tie that he settled for $1.8 billion, 1.776, because of course 1776, right? That's like the call to action. So this is not part of the $10 billion. He dismissed that and set up a slush fund with $1.776 billion of American taxpayer money. Now, first of all, Congress carries the purse. Congress is the one that sets appropriations and gets to decide how the money's spent, and then the secretaries and heads of these various departments go and spend that money on those things. That's how our government is supposed to work. The executive has no power whatsoever to just appropriate money to places, taxpayer money. So, and what this taxpayer money is going to be used for is the Anti-Weaponization Act, which would give payments of millions of dollars in some cases to January 6 rioters who attacked police officers, to people who were convicted of crimes or pled out to crimes and were in jail for these crimes and then later pardoned by Trump. Anyone that thinks that we should give money to people who attacked and put 144 Capitol police officers in the hospital is nuts. And this is Trump rewarding the people that went and rioted for him and telling them to do it again, and I've got your back. That's exactly what this is. This is Trump. He's going to give them this money, and then he's going to give orders as it applies to the midterm elections, I imagine. But anyway, this slush fund has nothing to do with the $10 billion. Todd Blanche, the Attorney General, acting Attorney General, is the one who will hand this money out, which means Trump will decide who gets it. The fact that it's even on the table to give money to January 6 rioters who attacked police officers, committed acts of violence, smeared feces and urine all over the Capitol, tried to get in and hang the Vice President of the United States. What are we doing?
Well, the reviews are in, and they're pretty much unanimous. I mean, quote, one of the single most corrupt acts in American history. Quote, corruption unparalleled in American history. Quote, the most brazen theft and abuse of taxpayer dollars by any president in American history. Quote, the largest single act of grand larceny in American history.
Look, these are all quotes from various media agencies. All right?
5 stars. Most corrupt thing ever. People are grasping for words to adequately describe the unprecedented nature and magnitude of what President Donald Trump is attempting to do right now. And this isn't even about the whole stocks fiasco we just talked about a couple minutes ago, which has also been revealed over the last few days, in which the president appears to have been
Right. So on top of this, Trump has also been manipulating the stock market, which we all knew he was. 3,700 trades. And as he goes and buys things, he gets on TV and pumps up those corporations and then sells and makes billions of dollars off of it. You can look at his stock portfolio and see how much money he's made and the big change. If anybody else in this country had their stock portfolio drastically changed like that, they would immediately be investigated by the SEC and charged with insider trading. Immediately. I don't know much about Trump's lawsuit. The whole January 6th thing isn't why Democrats say it is. There is video of these people attacking police officers. The question is, Joe, I don't care what you say the whole January 6th thing is. These people that went and rioted were on video and caught for it for assaulting Capitol police officers with flags and batons and bear spray and all kinds of other stuff. They broke windows and busted down doors, and they injured 144 Capitol police officers that had to be hospitalized. Those things are facts. Should those people be given millions of dollars? Should those people be given any money whatsoever for assaulting Capitol police officers? I don't care about what you think the picture of January 6th is. We can talk about that later. The people who committed acts of violence on January 6th are being given money that wasn't appropriated by Congress, that was unilaterally decided by the President of the United States. Should that be happening? It's unconstitutional, it's illegal, it's immoral, it's unethical. What point would you like to discuss on that? Because you're going to have a real hard time with this one. Go look at the charts for the rise in Trump's stock portfolio and how much money he's made. And at the same time, he's going on TV and pumping up these very same corporations. Go look at that and tell me that it's not insider trading, that it's not stock market manipulation. Like, it absolutely is. He is a fucking con man. He is stealing billions of dollars from the American people. The right wants to sit and bitch about people who get food stamps and stuff, but they don't give a fuck that these people are stealing billions and billions and billions of dollars, that we're all paying $5 a gallon for fucking gas because of a war that we're losing, that people can't afford food or going hungry. Don't give people food stamps, but it's okay that billions of dollars are going in Trump's pocket from the American people, from the taxpayers, while gas is $5 a gallon. Come on now. I mean, let's be real about this. Don't just be a Trump fucking fanboy. Let's be real about this.
Buying stocks in companies right before he actively took steps as president to boost those companies. Multiple times. Millions of dollars. I mean that might be the biggest presidential corruption scandal in American history.
Absolutely.
Were it not for this other thing breaking at the same time about the same U.S. president. This $1.8 billion taxpayer dollars. $1.8 billion in taxpayer.
Hey, Dio, you hit the nail on the head here. Sunk cost. It's a sunk cost fallacy, right? Nobody wants to admit that they're wrong, that they supported the people that will cover up and hide pedophiles and steal billions of dollars and put us in needless wars, that inflation is at 3.8%. Trump has failed at everything he promised. Why will none of his supporters hold him accountable for this? Why do they not fucking care? I mean, come on. Here's and this is what brings me to this whole thing. If you supported Trump and his promises to bring down prices and people make more money, gas is going to be cheap, no more foreign wars, no regime changes, we're only going to deport the violent people. He lied about every fucking single one of those things. So if you supported him when he promised those things because of those promises, and you support him after he lied about them, where do your values actually lie? What is it that you actually value? Because it's not the fucking shit he said before. Whether or not any of it is true is for the courts to decide. I can't make any kind of decision based on limited information. Great cop-out. Perfect. Billions of dollars going in his file. I can't decide, oh boy. Look, Joe, I'll let you off with that, okay? I mean, I think that is the cowardly answer of I'm not going to confront the negative thing that is happening because I voted for it and I supported it. Right here. Bless your little heart, Average Joe. I feel bad for you, Average Joe, that you sit and see that these cons are taking place and you see the billions of dollars that misappropriated, unconstitutional completely, that you see these things and, that's for a court to decide. So you're going to continue supporting the person while the courts do nothing? We know that the courts are going to do whatever Trump says. We just seen people that are being appointed to the judicial, to the federal judicial who won't even admit that white supremacists are a thing. Like, that because they're doing Trump's bidding. So what do you mean it's for the court to decide?
taxpayer funds that Donald Trump is liberating from the U.S. Treasury to pay out to his friends and allies. And
that's called corruption, by the way.
Look, I know there's a lot of coverage today that has described this fund. First of all, they're describing it as $1.7 billion. That's $1.8 billion. But you're also seeing a lot of descriptions, a lot of headlines about this thing, describing this fund as some kind of settlement of Trump's ridiculous lawsuit against the IRS. With all due respect to my friends in the beleaguered mainstream U.S. media, I got to say that coverage and those headlines need to be refreshed.
Because it's false.
Because while Trump might have, talked about his grievance against the IRS as a pretext to explain what he wanted to do here, the way this has worked out, it's basically totally unrelated. This pot of money, this $1.8 billion, is not actually meaningfully connected to Trump's supposed grievance against the IRS. His lawsuit against the IRS is gone. Trump dropped it. So this $1.8 billion, this is not like a settlement that's being overseen by a judge or something. It is just something that Donald Trump told the government he controls to give him. And so now the government he controls is going to put almost $2 billion into a fund for him at the Justice Department, and Trump's attorney general will control the money. There is no judge involved. Neither the courts nor Congress is approving any settlement or overseeing any part of this. This is just Trump getting a ton of taxpayer money to dole out.
And they don't even have to say who they gave it to or why. They don't have to tell anybody, keep any record of it or anything. There is no oversight here whatsoever. Tell me that's not corruption. I mean, how in the world do you say it's not corruption? He never said we are only deporting violent illegals. Here's what he said, Joe, over and over and over, and here's what his administration said, is that they are going to deport the most dangerous first. They are going after only the people, not only, they targeted, though, the people, the violent people, the people with criminal records. That's not what they did, though. If they did that, why are 80% of the people that are deported have no record whatsoever? How are they going up? And they admit that they're looking for brown people and then seeing if they can, they're doing it by the way people look. Not everybody who is from a foreign country is Mexican. That's who they're looking for, the brown people. They've admitted this, so this is moot point.
Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin today called it, quote, nothing but a racket designed to take taxpayer dollars out of the Treasury and pour it into a huge slush fund for Trump at DOJ to hand out to his private militia of insurrectionists, rioters, and white supremacists, including those who brutally beat police officers on January 6th. Joining us now is Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland.
So I will tell you this. I disagree that they're giving this to the rioters as reparations, although that is a fair assessment of what's going on here. They refuse to give reparations to black families whose families were enslaved for hundreds of years. But they, MAGA supporters, they need reparations. I agree that you could call it reparations, but I think the goal here is to fund militias like the Nazi Party. This is to fund people to go and carry out riots and crimes. This is so that they have the money to do these operations. Why would you give them millions of dollars? I mean, some people are... $1.776 billion is a lot of money for the number of people that are involved here. That's giving people a lot of fucking money. This is to fund his Gestapo. That's what this is. He's followed in the footsteps of Nazi Germany every step of the way. That's exactly what this is.
Maryland. He's the top Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee and a constitutional law professor. Congressman Raskin, it's really nice to see you. Thank you for making time.
Great to see you, Rachel.
Is there anything else like this in U.S. history?
Nothing like it. It's thoroughly illegal and unconstitutional. Of course, Congress never voted to set up a $1.776 billion political slush fund for the president, and we never would pass such a thing. So it's a complete violation of congressional appropriations powers. Moreover, even if Congress wanted to do such a thing, which we never would, it would be unconstitutional because the 14th Amendment says that money cannot be spent out of the federal fisc for the purposes of repaying people for insurrection or rebellion against.
It was an insurrection. It's been deemed an insurrection. Legally, it is a fact to say it was an insurrection. It's unconstitutional to set aside money to pay people for an insurrection who were insurrectionists. This is illegal. Do you want to argue that it's not illegal, Joe? Would you like to say that? Because it absolutely is. Go check the Constitution. Don't just pass the buck on to someone else this time. Go look for yourself. I don't actually think that you would support these things if you would accept the facts, Joe. I really don't. I think you're a nice guy. I think you mean well. I'm glad that you're here, honestly. I like to have people who want to provide a counterpoint so that I'm not just yelling into an echo chamber. But Joe, how can you where do your values lie if you're okay with these things? I have to ask the question, look, you or anybody else, you can go get the best political debater there is. I suck at debates, but they're going to lose the argument against the things I've pointed out here today because they're facts. They refuse to agree to simple facts. The federal court system said it was an insurrection repeatedly. Several of them, several different districts said, yes, this was an insurrection. The people were convicted of seditious acts. I mean, how in the world are you going to get there? Theo, I agree with what you're saying, but as long as anyone can come and behave themselves, I know even if they hold what I consider to be some very bad ideas, and sometimes it gets out of hand or whatever, but as long as they're behaving and they want to give a counterpoint, I'm okay with that. You can disagree with that all you want. Trump was indicted for it, though. And according to Jack Smith and the people that would know, had a fucking solid case that Trump did incite it. So I don't know that you can disagree. You're allowed to disagree with anything you want to disagree with. Even if you don't think Trump incited it, it was still an insurrection. That is a fact. Legally, that is a fact. There's no it's again. This is the thing. You have to argue against basic facts of reality for your position to even make sense, and then you still can't win that argument.
It's the United States, and look, but this is his MO now with all of these political slush funds. That's what the Board of Peace is. They took $1.5 billion from the State Department. That was money that was supposed to be for disaster relief. Then he sets up this Board of Peace. He gets $1 billion from the Qataris, $1 billion from the Saudis, and so on. We don't know anything about it. Is it public, private, profit, not for profit, registered in America, registered in Qatar? We don't know anything about it other than Donald Trump is chairman for life. he controls all that money. So that in itself is a violation of the Foreign Government Emoluments Clause, because all those foreign states and kings and princes are giving money, and the Domestic Emoluments Clause, which says the president is limited to his salary in office and cannot derive any other money from the U.S. Treasury. But
yeah, it's illegal. There's no question. These things are illegal. So again, Joe, you're also paying more for gas and groceries and everything else. The economy is falling apart. Inflation's out the roof. Do you support those things? Do you support that? Because Trump, in the meantime, is spending billions of dollars on illegal, unconstitutional things like this and the slush fund, and then worried about ballrooms and reflecting, he calls it lake or whatever. Like, he's worried about all of these other things and spending billions and billions of dollars. While you pay more for everything. And he caused it. Look, it's fine. You want to support the man, but let's put accountability where it lies. He caused these things. He is the president. He doesn't get to blame Joe Biden anymore. Not that that was ever a good point anyway. But he can't blame Joe Biden for any of this. It's his actions that are doing this. Yeah, I think we're at that point, Theo, to where it becomes dishonest to try and say otherwise. I mean, there's look, I'm not telling you that you have to be anti-Trump. I just want you to be accountable. That's it. Joe, you come here and you watch the channel, and whenever I do atheist stuff, you're right there with me arguing in the chat with what I'm saying and stuff. Like, I got no problem with you, Joe. I mean, I'm going to get passionate when we're arguing about these things, but don't get me wrong, I'm not mad. As long as you're not like openly saying racist or bigoted things, or you know, like you're not being an ass, like we're good. I'm glad that you're here. You more than anybody needs to hear what I'm saying. Tell me I'm wrong. Make a response video. Come argue with me about it.
the whole administration now is just corruption. Highway robbery.
That's it. The whole administration's corruption. And I'll prove it right here. Watch this. Watch what happens here. This is our last clip.
The committee add a new section to the rule providing immediate consideration of H.R. 7711, the No Rewards for January 6 Rioters Act, under a closed rule, debatable for 1 hour, equally divided between the chair and ranking member of the Committee on Judiciary, with a self-executing amendment that would require the disclosure to Congress within 15 days of any settlements or other payments made out to the so-called anti-weaponization fund. So this bill would prohibit the use of federal funds to compensate individuals who were prosecuted for their involvement in the attack on the United States Capitol on January 6, 2021. Additionally, my motion would self-execute an amendment that would require the Attorney General of the United States to disclose any payments made by the so-called anti-weaponization fund, which was created by the corrupt settlement agreement between Donald Trump and his own administration. This secret slush fund.
All right. So, look, this act, the amendment that he's wanting to add here, is for this money, the $1.776 billion, for them to keep record of who they give it to, and to turn that over to Congress for oversight, because that is Congress's job. That's what they're supposed to do. That's all it's asking. And it's saying, hey, let's not give money under the guise of anti-weaponization to people who attacked police officers that we know and were found guilty of attacking police officers. Yeah, Joe, I know you see things differently. I just do not understand how you can be so irrational in your conclusions. That's my problem here. And it frustrates the shit out of me that we're in the position that we're in, and people who have otherwise good intentions and good ideas and are reasonable about any number of things goes out the window, and they act in a theistic behavior whenever it comes to Donald Trump and the Republican Party. They are doing all this damage. They are causing these things. You can't say that you care about money and fiscal responsibility and all the things the Republicans said that they care about, the things that you supported, and they do exactly the opposite, and then say that you still support them. It's a contradiction. So where do your values actually lie? Come have the conversation with me. I do not understand how you can continue to support that. Yeah, you can say you feel that way. Come and show me that I'm the irrational one then. I'm not a good debater, Joe. Like I will be genuine and honest with you every step of the way. And again, I don't want people calling names in the chat. That's one of the rules of the chat, okay? Like, if we're going to reach people that hold these bad ideas, we have to be willing to have honest conversations with them. And I know it's frustrating, and I know it seems like something that's an insurmountable task, but we have to try. If we want to fix anything, we have to be able to talk to these people, the ones that aren't just, racist and there for the wrong reasons, right? Joe actually believes that these things are the way that he says, and I'm curious of how he honestly gets there. And anybody that can come and have an honest conversation that's not filled with dog whistles and racism and all that bullshit, I will gladly have the conversation with. I want to have that conversation. Go tell all your right-wing buddies that aren't, that aren't going to try and make it about trans people and brown people and all that. Go tell them to come have the conversation with me too. Show them this clip. I want to have this conversation. I know that this community, like whenever it comes to right-wing people, Trump supporters and stuff like that, like it's so easy to just like these people are crazy and full of shit and what, like I know that. But if we're ever going to get through to people, we have to be able to have the conversation. Why do black people need to be represented? Yeah, well, that was said. But that's my position on that. And I know that a lot of people feel like you shouldn't entertain these things and stuff, but I think we have to. If we ever want to get through to people, we at least have to have some conversations. At the point that the conversation becomes dishonest, to where you know that you're no longer having an honest conversation with the person, that they're just doing anything to squirm out and do it dishonestly, then yeah, I agree. The conversation's over. There's nothing else to talk about. But I think that Joe gets there at times with some of the things we talk about on here, but I don't think that that's his goal. I think that Joe comes from a more genuine place usually. I think there is some sunk cost involved and all that, like we talked about earlier, but yeah. No problem is going away due to a YouTube side chat. Attack the argument, not the person, is not an unreasonable request. Yeah.
Should be an outrage to every American, no matter your politics. And at least the majority leader of the Senate, a Republican, seems reluctant to go along with this. He said today that he is, quote, not a big fan, end quote, and that he, quote, does not see a purpose, end quote, for it. But will he and other Republicans do anything about it? I know that my colleague Congressman Scott has expressed concern with Trump's pardons of over 1,500 individuals who attacked the Capitol on January 6th, including the many who were convicted of violent felonies. And I recall Representative Griffin.
Yeah, Joe. We also have to be honest with ourselves. In politics, it's hard not to be biased. I agree with you. I'm biased whenever it comes to these issues. I am biased because I think that all people deserve the same rights under the law. I think that we should observe the Constitution and hold people accountable for their crimes. The problem is that we don't agree on the basic reality, the foundation, that these things are crimes, that they're unconstitutional, that they're illegal, that they're racist. We don't agree on it because for some reason, people on the right, and here's my bias, people on the right won't agree to the basic terms of reality, like that neo-Nazis are white supremacists, that Trump promised all these things and the opposite is taking place, and you still support that. So did you really support the things you said whenever you voted for Trump, or was it the dog whistles for the other things that you actually supported, and why you continue to support him after he lied to you and you're paying more for everything? Moral realism discussion, yeah. Yeah, I don't really want to do that. I just, help me understand how it is that you support one thing so much because you think that's what's right, and when they lie to you and do the opposite, you still support. Make me understand that. I'm open. Look, Joe, I'm as open-minded as a person as you're going to talk to. Like, I am genuinely honest in every interaction with people I've had on this channel. You can go back and look at my record. I'm honest. I argue honestly. I'm nice to people. Like, I'm not, like, this isn't about me. I could give a shit less about that. I support humanism, though. Like that, and this isn't that. People are dying. Hundreds of thousands of people are dying because of Trump's policies, decisions. There's victims still around because of covering up for the Epstein thing that are being harmed currently. Like, I really don't understand how you get there. All right. So anyway, what I want to point out here, and we're getting close to the end here, is so what happens is the Republicans say nothing. All the Democrats point out why we shouldn't give money to people who attack police officers. And here's what happens.
And with that, Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Ms. Lesher Fernandez. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, the question is on the amendment. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. No. In the opinion of the chair, the noes have it. The amendment's not.
They take roll. All the Republicans voted no. All the Republicans voted in favor here of giving money to people who attack police officers. They would not even vote yes to not giving money to those who violently attacked people. That's what happened here. They all voted no. They didn't say a word. They didn't argue. They just voted no. And the amendment, literally, you can go look at it online too, Joe. The amendment said, we're not going to give funds to people who were prosecuted for attacking Capitol Police officers for violent acts during the insurrection. We're not going to give money to those people that committed violent acts. It didn't say anything about the whole insurrection or everybody else or anything like that. Just the people who violently attacked police officers, and they voted no on that. How do you support that? Where do your values lie if you do support that? Because I think it's a real bad place. It's a real dark place. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you, everybody that came and commented, and thank you for some of the people that complimented the quality of the show of me doing this by myself. I appreciate you coming and listening to me. And if you're new here, or even if you're coming back, maybe hit the like button. And if you're not subscribed here at the Kentucky Atheist, maybe subscribe. If you're not subscribed over at Lil's, go over and subscribe to Lil's channel too. We'll be back Sunday. Lil should be back Sunday, and I don't know if Seth's with us this week or not. I think he has to work, but if Seth's available, he'll be with us. And so Politicality again Sunday at 1 p.m. You've seen the art protest stuff scrolling through chat there. If you want to support the art protest where we go and stand up and speak out against people who are violating the Establishment Clause and who are harming children every day, if you want to support that, go drop $1 or $2. I'll drop the link again right now for anybody that wants to. It's fine if you don't, no big deal. This is a really important thing that we do though, and Average Joe supports this one, I think. You can also go to arcresistance.com. That should pop up there in a second, and you can go there and get more information. You can. There's Lil's channel too. Thank you, Aunt Jer, for that. We will have a big fundraiser on June 6th, where I will show off my video, my interview with Ray Comfort that'll take place a couple days before. So catch the big fundraiser. It'll be here in our Objective Ethics channel. Objective Ethics is going to host, and I'm going to be I'm kind of going to be managing it all. I've got all but one of the speakers are going to be there, so come hang out with No Illusions and Godless Granny, Godless Engineer, KC Gleason, Mandisa Thomas, Kelly might stop in. Robin's probably going to stop in. You can stop in and say, I'll even let you join the stream and say hi to these people if you want. They'll be in and out and stuff. A lot of our sponsors are going to stop in. The speakers, the only person that I haven't confirmed yet is Seth Andrews. But the Scathing Atheist, Noah, will be here. That's cool. Godless Engineer, Godless Granny, Kelly Laughlin will be here. Oh yeah, Joe, I figured you do. I mean, I kind of know where you're at, Joe. We disagree politically, but we agree on a lot of other things. And that's fine. We can talk about those things. We can talk about things we agree on sometime if you want. Maybe that's a good place to start, is the stuff we do agree on, so we have a point to jump off at. Robin will be there. Yeah, come see us. That'll be June 6th, okay? And it's going to go on for about 4 hours. It'll start at like 7 p.m. Eastern. We're doing it at that time because the Pacific time for Objective Ethics is a little different, of course. These 3 hours behind us. So we're going to do that big thing, man. Everybody come and hang out. There's I have to switch here to show these to you. But here's an ad for the protest. Everything you need to know. July 12th at noon, Williamstown, Kentucky. Go to arcresistance.com for more information. There's one of our cards that you get for making a donation to the ARC protest. You know, make a donate. We've got like 20 some of them, and they all have neat little bows here. Most of them are funny. This is just the one I showed you. There's a bunch. There's ones with me on it and Lil on it and GE and all the different sponsors, and there's people from the ARC that are on some of them. You know, get some of. They're super cool. I thought more people would want these. I really did. I thought this was going to be a big hit, these cards. And it's turned out not to be so great, but I thought it was a good idea, so we keep doing it anyway. Yeah. All right. So be back Sunday. I may do something between now and then. I do want to, here at the end of the show, announce that Politicality will continue and stuff, but as for myself, I'm probably going to wrap up live streaming the weekend of June 18th, and we'll do a little show or something, you know, and I'm going to step away for a while. So we'll talk about that later. It's, you know, we can talk about it. I may even publicly share some opinions on some things that aren't going to be real popular, but yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming, everybody, and have a good one, and you know, listen to the things they're saying. No, it'll be after the protest, Robin. July 18th is the date, not June, if I said that. July 18th, the weekend of July 18th, we'll do our last one. That'll be the last one that I do for an indefinite period of time. But, all right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Support the ARC protest, and I will see you around.